When you watched him play as a former NFL pick, what did you see that you liked or didn't? Did you think he was a first-round player?
I thought he was first-round talent. But when I watch him, he's accurate. He throws with anticipation. But when you watch a guy that's getting hit repeatedly and still popping up and making the plays for you, that's something that is a quality that's hard to learn.
If you just tried to be knowledgeable in any way, shape, form, or fashion, you would be able to understand what's going on. So a common theme that's been coming up since I've been making these Shedeur Sanders NFL videos is something that I keep telling you guys, and it's that any person worth anything that puts their name on a statement that comes from them about their experience about Shedeur, whether it is how he plays the game or how he carries himself, has been positive. The only negatives that we can see are people with weird profile pictures online or anonymous sources who don't want to put their name on anything. I keep warning you to understand what that means, just in the real world, just in life. Look, if somebody called you something enough times, hey, you might be doing that thing. But if only certain amounts of people and only certain particular situations do that, hey, man, there might be other things going on. Today, what we're going to talk about with Shedeur Sanders is who'd have thought about it, but more NFL legends. One specifically a Browns legend, but all of them NFL legends in their own regard. Mr. Bernie Kosar, Mr. Drew Bledsoe, and now new minority owner Charles Woodson, as they're all going to speak on some of what they think is the reality of the quarterback one position, as well as give praise to Shedeur Sanders. And then at the end of this video, y'all have been showing me so much support. I want to answer some of y'all's comments. Sometimes I don't have, it's just a lot. So we're going to walk through some of the comments on some of the last video that we did talking about Shedeur. Just answer, talk about it, speak about it. I really appreciate y'all rocking with me. So like this video if you like it, dislike it if you don't like it, subscribe if you enjoy these types of videos and all things and shapes and sizes. Let's hop right into it. So let's just hear it from Charles Woodson. He's going to talk about who he thinks should be QB1, and I think I might agree with who that person is for him.
I suspect that Joe Flacco, just because he has that experience, I would expect that day one he would probably be the guy. But whatever reps that you get, if you're Dylan or you're Shedeur or Pickett, whatever reps you get, you have to show us in a limited amount of reps your value, to the team. And so over this next, few weeks, of course, whether it be the OTAs or then once training camp starts, guys will start to weed themselves out. That's just the way the game goes. And the competition is going to bring out the best and the worst in each of these guys. And the guys who go out there and perform with whatever limited reps they get, that's going to be the guys that's going to be around.
Okay, pretty diplomatic answer. Again, he's an owner now, so I think things have to stay a certain amount of kosher, a certain amount of above board there. So I respect that. But I think y'all think I'm a Shedeur Glazer. I think it makes the most sense for Joe Flacco to come out there. Obviously, he's the vet. He's played in the system before. And understand that the Cleveland Browns coming off like a 4-win, 6-win season, an abysmal season last year, right? And this is not me crapping on Browns, because Browns fans get upset. Like, the whole NFL world hasn't been crapping on y'all, except for when y'all let Nick Chubb go crazy. You know what I'm saying? When y'all let that boy do what he need to do, I can't be mad at you. Anyway, staying on topic, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting Shedeur Sanders to shine, but also wanting it to be done in the right way. Like, I think if y'all been watching my videos, you see that I am of the idea that if you want what's best for Shedeur, patience, you know what I'm saying? Delayed gratification is what's going to happen. It might not be this season. It might not be the beginning of the season. He might not be starting week 1. But if you believe in the talent that Shedeur Sanders has, and you believe that he can, do the things that he needs to do, oh, well, I am so sorry. And you believe, this highly of him, then you should have no issues with believing that, hey, man, he's going to be able to push through these certain things, right? Regardless of what it is, his time being able to be almost protected, right? Learning from somebody like Joe Flacco, right? Learning from what it is, and especially while a not so great offensive team figures out what they are going to be and what identity they're going to be. Now, it does help with Dylan Sampson. It does help with Quinshon Judkins. Those are two of my favorite running backs coming out of this last collegiate season, right? They're highly productive. They do a lot of things, very intelligent, and they are both backs that, hey, they've been able to do a lot of the tasks of an offense, right? Catching the ball, being a third down back, pass protection. Quinshon Judkins loves getting dirty with pass protection. So, and not to say that there aren't a plethora of weapons to be utilized, but for me it makes sense. And then when you talk about what the path, if you want Shedeur to start and you want him to be successful, if Joe Flacco comes in and starts, somebody who's probably the closest to Shedeur Sanders' style of play, I'd guess, because of the hand size. Well, Kenny Pickett, I don't know who he played like. I don't know. I ain't seen nothing like that. But Dillon Gabriel, not just being left-handed, but obviously he's a little more of he likes to create, he likes to get out there. He's almost like Baker Mayfield-y, right? Where he wants to, he loves, I think there was some like stat back when, Baker was like breaking records for the Browns specifically for the Browns here, that like he was like one of the top rated throwing maybe not off platform, but throwing on the run and creative routes, like getting out in space, rolling right, allowing him to get to be honest with you, from behind that offensive line where he can see and also just get different angles and really, unleash his arm. I think it's going to be advantageous for him. So I say all that to say that Joe Flacco would be someone who would mold this offense into the style that, Shedeur Sanders would be able to take and elevate to a whole nother level, right? He'd be able to execute those same types of things in the Joe Flacco way, right? The offense doesn't really miss many beats, except if you believe the way that, people think, Shedeur Sanders is that dude. He would only be better, right? It would only be a better version of what Joe Flacco is. So I think that's something that's interesting. Not only do you mold it for his early on, but again, you protect him in different things. And here's a few more things. Obviously, ESPN analyst Louis Riddick. Now, we do have to – Louis Riddick is clearly biased. He's a Sanders guy, just like me. But there's nothing wrong with that. I just want to make sure, he likes the Sanders. You know what I'm saying? He's always been keeping up for Shedeur, which is important. Louis Riddick believes Shedeur Sanders has the potential to be the Browns starter in week 1 against the Bengals. Interesting. If he can compete with Dillon Gabriel, he can compete with Joe Flacco. If he can compete with he can compete with Kenny Pickett. There's a very good chance that if this is an organic competition with a level playing field, then he can be your week 1 starter. No question about it. Riddick was very positive about Shedeur during Colorado's Pro Day. He's extremely poised, accurate, and has enough athletic ability to throw the football outside the pocket, can put a lot of velocity on the ball when need be. I told y'all, hey, you better watch out. He's been improving that, and I think he's paid really good attention to do that. Accurate at all 3 levels. Browns OTAs gets under a week this way, and the quarterback competition will finally begin. Yeah, I believe it starts the 29th, so y'all be locked and loaded there for when that gets going and gets cooking off there. So, and obviously we already heard Kurt Warner about the evaluation. Let's go ahead and hear from Drew Bledsoe as well as Browns legend Bernie Kosar, and then we'll yap a little more.
It was amazing to me watching Cam and Shedeur in college, how they already have that confidence and ability, pocket presence to hang this close to a defensive tackle, Tyvis, and not be affected, keep your feet calm, and execute a throw. So I loved watching that coming in. I was super surprised he fell that far like he did. So I'm like just any fan. I'm looking forward to seeing him play, truthfully.
Yeah. That's great to hear. And again, what I'm saying, I like to bring some stats and facts about Bernie Kosar, the great Bernie Kosar, the Miami great, as well as Browns great. Did a lot of things. Heisman voting in 4th in 1984. He's a first overall pick in 1985 supplemental draft by the Cleveland Browns, but don't matter because he did phenomenal things too. Offensive player of the years, 6 players of the week. 5 seasons in the top 5 in pass completions, 2 seasons in top 10 in passing touchdowns. He did a lot of phenomenal things for the Browns and also some phenomenal things for, them Miami Hurricanes as well, winning a national championship. So absolutely great to see Mr. Drew Bledsoe. Obviously, it's kind of ironic that he's going to be talking about him, especially if you're a Sanders guy or lady, or if you're a Sanders lady, because obviously, Drew Bledsoe, we know what happened with him and old Tom Brady, the supposed mentor of Shedeur Sanders. So let's see what he has, and does he think that Shedeur can be the next Tom Brady? Let's hear it.
I think Shedeur will be fine. I think he was underdrafted, but there aren't a lot of traits. He doesn't spin it like you. He's not as tall as you. He doesn't move like Lamar. he doesn't have a lot you go, wow, but I do think he didn't have a good O-line or a run game, and he played really well against much better teams. And I think there's value in playing well. When you watch him, and you watch them a little bit at Colorado, if you'd never heard any other analyst talk about Shedeur Sanders, when you watched him play as a former NFL pick, what did you see that you liked or didn't? Did you think he was a first-round player?
Yeah, I did, Colin. I thought he was first-round talent. I don't know the guy. I still, it's sort of a mystery to me why he fell as far as he did. But when I watch him, he's accurate. He throws with anticipation. There's a quarterback thing that I always look for if I'm watching quarterbacks. The ones that are successful, you can almost see the future, right? You have to be able to anticipate. You have to throw guys open. If you wait to see a guy open, especially as you rise to the NFL level, then you're behind and you're just not going to be successful. And I've watched that happen with some quarterbacks that had really big arm talent, but they had to wait to see somebody open before they throw the ball. Shedeur seems to be able to anticipate well. I liked watching him play in college. Again, he didn't have a ton, of help up front. He was getting hit. It's another thing that I look for. I'm always kind of suspicious when you see some of these, not always, but some of these quarterbacks that come out of the great programs, the Ohio States and Alabamas of the world, because, they're out there. Their guys are better than the other guys. They're not getting hit. They're throwing to open guys. Most guys should be able to do that. But when you watch a guy that's getting hit repeatedly and still popping up and making the plays for you, that's something that is a quality that's hard to learn if you can learn it. And he got his ass knocked off in college and still continued to battle and play well. So, I believe he's going to have some success, at some point, whether it's this year, next year, whenever.
Again, and I don't think that, and again, here's some accolades for Drew Bledsoe as well, because I think that, again, I don't think he needs much explaining. He's a top tier quarterback. Obviously was replaced by Tom Brady and, went on to have an epic run. If it wasn't for Tom Brady, Drew Bledsoe would have been the guy in New England because he just got paid like he was the guy. Regardless, I want to speak on those things because it's so interesting, the two things that he actually highlighted, because one, I feel like with a lot of people who I've never seen a quarterback's win-loss ratio in the regular season be held against someone like I saw Shedeur when it came to the whole draft and, oh, this is why he fell. It's because he went 12-13. It's because, it's just I don't, dog, Caleb Williams didn't have a perfect record. I'm confused. All these other players don't have a perfect record. And then on top of that, I say that to say, because it's so funny because Josh Allen doesn't get held against for playing Wyoming. Some people did. Some people have the competition problem, but the common sentiment and the reason why, Georgia quarterbacks have historically not done good, SEC quarterbacks have historically not done, amazing, is because they have the best offensive alignment, right? You get quarterbacks from sometimes the Big Ten, sometimes a smaller school, sometimes a Big 12, right? You have certain quarterback schools, but you don't just get quarterbacks from all SEC teams, right? They're running teams with great offensive linemen, right? So it's so odd to me that when evaluating Shedeur, so many people kind of casted aside. Now, again, there's plenty of people who are pro Sanders who had to point out the poorest offensive line. But it's so interesting how many people wanted to reframe what should be just a positive for Shedeur. Him having a terrible offensive lineman. Or not terrible offensive line. Him having bad offensive line play, right? Him having a bad run game, right? Him seemingly having to deal with some bad, if you ask me, bad play calling in general from the offensive side. If you ask me, and again, I'm no offensive czar or anything, right? But it's interesting that the pros continue to point out these simple things. He's accurate, gets the ball where it needs to be. He can anticipate things are gonna be amazing. Now, no one is saying that Shedeur, and again, I don't either. Y'all, hey, comment Shedeur Glazer down below because I know you like to. I am not claiming that Shedeur is the greatest thing since sliced bread. I don't think these pros are either, but I think it's more telling that they are telling the same story of, oh yeah, accurate, good person, XYZ, he does this well, I've seen this well. I don't know why. And by the way, he is a first round talent. I mean, hey, I'm not I'm not making arguments anymore. I'm letting the people who've done it at a high level make those arguments, and I'm just gonna go by what the experts say. And I think that's what the experts have to say. Now, I made this video. We're gonna wrap it up here. Gonna wrap up our video by just taking a peek at some of these comments. Now, I was particularly peeved off about this later out here. Now, I don't mean any negativity towards her. It's just the fact that why does it keep doing that, big guy? What's going on? What is happening? Sorry, the thing keeps whipping back up. I don't know why it's doing that. But yeah, I was just confused because while I was looking, yo, dog, what is going on? Sorry, it is while I was doing it, just the fact that somebody would be so bold in lying. Yo, what is happening right now? Sorry, so the fact that somebody would be so bold in lying really interests me. So, first off, my favorite comment had to be this one right here, which said, "Only thing he has to get on to me about is leaving Jerry Rice, the greatest receiver of all time from HBCUs, off of my HBCU list." I was going on a little rant. Again, it's supposed to be a quick video. Y'all showed amazing love and support for it, so I really appreciate that. But hey, I gotta be honest there. But like I was saying with her, she was just telling easily verifiable lies. Like if you just tried to be knowledgeable in any way, shape, form, or fashion, you would be able to understand what's going on. So it just felt like laziness. It felt like a disrespect to you all who enjoy the Browns and want to get those news. And Sonia Jordan agrees as well, loud and wrong, and it makes sense. Aretha Burton says that she's a Karen. She knows nothing about Shedeur's football journey. She didn't know anything about Shedeur's football journey, and she was just happy to seemingly. I'm not sure if she was lying, but it was clear that she doesn't know what's going on, because like it's one thing to like. It'd be different if I was like, oh, she misquoted the name or whatever. Like, I make mistakes. Like, I think in the other video, I accidentally said Isaiah Augustin went to Arizona instead of Arkansas. Like, I agree. I made a mistake in this one, I think, too, as well, with like some page or whatever. And I'm fine with that. But it'd be different if she said, like, I don't know, Shedeur played for an extra year, or Shedeur only played, at Colorado. Even though if you only say you only play at Colorado, I think that'd be disrespectful, right? It'd be like, come on, dog. It's still not the level of what she said. And what she said was like just the exact opposite of Shedeur. He's never had any adversity. He's had the same exact offensive coordinator forever. It's just like, it gets to a point where it's like, oh, well, you're not even trying. You didn't even Google search. You didn't even look up Shedeur Sanders' stats before getting into it. You know what I'm saying? Because clearly, if you came up with that. But here is Mr. Jackie 6189 says, "I wish some of the bigger networks would expose these lies. That's why I prefer the more personable podcast, because the reports are more accurate. Keep up the great journalism." First off, I appreciate when y'all say this. It makes me feel weird when y'all call me a journalist. I don't think what I'm doing is journalism, but I guess technically it is. And I do want to take this time to say, I really appreciate y'all just watching these videos. Whether you think it's journalism, whether you think I'm just a dude yapping about foosball, which I think that's, what all this really is. It does mean something to me that y'all continue to watch and continue to come back. So thank y'all so much. And then Johnny Swag, this is a phenomenal PFP. She needs to get off the wine bottle. Wow. I'm not liking that one. If y'all want to go light down, y'all can go light down. Y'all know what this field is. She'll be walking that ish back by tomorrow afternoon. I haven't heard it. If I was Shedeur, she would get no response from me. Period. It says Mary Kay is following orders. She's not oblivious of Shedeur's collegiate career. It's obvious that the NFL colluded to ensure the Browns could acquire Shedeur at a bargain basement price, compensating for Deshaun Watson debacle. Interesting. Okay, we got a little bit of NBA, NFL conspiracy theory with Shedeur. I like them. Significant investments they made in him while still being able to build a team around Shedeur. The sad part about it is that they did it at Shedeur's expense. And now people like this woman are trying to cover up for it by making Shedeur look inept. So many people have both bought into this foolishness that she and others are spewing. When will it stop? Sorry, this is we're getting into the Da Vinci Code level stuff. Shout out to ARob1727. I'm not sure if I'm as smart as you to be able to come to that conclusion, but I don't think it's the wrong conclusion to say. Here's what I will say. I'm not sure if they're colluding. I don't know if it's the NFL. Hey, you know what I'm saying? I don't want them. You're not gonna have no black trucks pull up on me. I don't know nothing about Nathan. I'm just talking about foosball. But what I will say, and I will stand on, is so many. And again, this is one of the big reasons why I made this video or made this channel or made these videos on this channel, is because I see so many people in bad faith trying to argue the Shedeur stuff, whether it's misrepresenting his stats and what he's done in his past, like Mary Cabot has, or it's a lot like people do on the internet. And like I see the concerted effort to try to paint Shedeur as this awful, terrible person, or he's a thug, he's a this, he's so brash, he's arrogant. And it's like, I think y'all are trying really hard to put Shedeur in a stereotype that you expect for him to come from, because he comes from money, because you see him put his watch in the air, because you see certain signifiers, you want him to be a bad, terrible, awful person. Like that's just what it is. When again, nothing off the field, the only thing on the field he's ever done is talk some shit. And if you don't like to play that talk some shit, hey, I think you need to go watch tennis, buddy. I think you're watching the wrong sport. I think football is a little too rough for you, right? But hey, you be phenomenal. You keep being great. Thank you so much for being great. Again, I thank y'all 1,000 times. Thank you again for supporting and rocking it and chilling with me, man. Like this video if you like it. Dislike it if you don't like it. Subscribe if you enjoy football content of all shapes and sizes. I'm going to keep you locked in. Just keep being great. And we'll see you next time, babe.